Welcome everyone to the Hurting Humanity channel. Elon Musk is doing a $1 million daily giveaway to registered voters in battleground states. And I talked about how it's very, very clear that there's going to be a major Psyop, like we've seen the last few elections, around fake stories about votes not being calculated in certain states, or illegal immigrants and votes being discarded. These are all narratives that the government wants out there to suck people deeper in to the psychosis. And this story could potentially be the story that they use as a potential psyop, because clearly this story is about Elon Musk bribing people to register to vote and then, of course, sign his petition. So the theory here is that Elon Musk is bribing people to vote for Donald Trump. Now, is that technically what he's doing? Well, technically what he's doing is getting people to sign his PAC's petition, which supports free speech and the right to bear arms. So it's actually kind of incredible that we're even talking about one side versus the other, where there's Democrats who don't support free speech or the right to bear arms, just like, of course, the conservatives and the Democrats point fingers at one another about who thinks that who is stealing each other's rights. And the reality is that this is what the elites need so badly. They need us at each other's throats, the civilians, specifically the left and the right, so that they can eliminate the Constitution. And that's what they're using everyone to do. You have Democrats who now no longer support free speech because they're classifying things as hate speech or misinformation. Misinformation wasn't even a word 5 years ago. And now people talk about the word misinformation as if it's a word that they've heard their entire lives. They don't realize how they're being programmed into this reality. And through repetition, hearing the word misinformation or disinformation every day for a few years, now it's a normal term. They just discredit speech that they don't agree with and call it disinformation or misinformation, and actually think that it's a threat in our society to talk about some of the topics I talk about on this channel. So Elon Musk has announced that he's going to give $1 million away every single day from now until the actual fake election, the selection. And he's only going to do it to registered voters, which again tells you how desperate they are for people to be registered to vote. Have you noticed that trend? How they want you to be registered to vote. Please register to vote. Go register to vote. You got to go register to vote. And it's a bribery, right? Telling people that if you go register to vote and you sign my petition, I could potentially give you $1 million. You remember the last time the government and these rich people were telling you that if you went and did something, they would reward you? Do you remember that? Do you see where this is going? Because I remember specifically the government said, we'll give you free French fries at McDonald's. Hey, we'll give you $100 Visa giveaways. Hey, local strip clubs will give you lap dances. Hey, local liquor stores will give you booze, whatever. We'll give you whatever you want. If you just go to your local Walgreens or your local CVS or your local pharmacy and take what we tell you to take. Well, they seem just as desperate to get you to register and to go and vote, because they're literally offering things for people to register to vote. So here is the story, and keep in mind a potential psyop coming out of this story, because it's only in swing states, okay? It's only in swing states. It's not in states like Texas, where you know that the state is going to, quote unquote, vote for Donald Trump. Or in California, where you know that the state is going to vote for Kamala Harris, right? It's in swing states. Why swing states? Because the psyops are going to come out of the swing states. And they're going to use narratives like this to say that, well, that state swung because of illegal activity, like bribery from Elon Musk, who is out in the open as Donald Trump's biggest supporter. Listen.
I have a surprise for you, which is that we're going to be awarding $1 million to randomly to people who have signed the petition every day from now until the election. So, you know, one of the challenges we're having is like, well, how do we get people to know about this petition? Because the legacy media won't report on it. You know, not everyone's on X. So I figure, how do we get people to know about it? Well, this news, I think, is going to really fly. So every day between now and the election, we'll be awarding $1 million, starting tonight. All right. So, tonight's person is John Dreyer. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
So, by the way, John had no idea. So, anyway, you're welcome. Yeah. So the only thing we ask for the $1 million is that you be a spokesperson for the petition, and that's it. Really, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So wait, do you want to say anything?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Thanks, Elon. This is great. I'm really ecstatic. I want to congratulate you on your rocket catch last week. Big curveball. But yeah, I've been following you for 10 years. Got your biography 10 years ago, and been watching ever since. And big fan. So
Thank you. All right. Well, cool. So. Yeah, so I think this is kind of fun, you know, it seems like a good use of money, basically. So
that obviously just reeked of a complete act. You know, the guy on stage jumping up and down, he's followed him around for 10 states. I'm sure just a local Mason who they called on to participate. And again, if you don't remember, I've covered over the years the lottery, the origins of the lottery, Freemasonry, and the connection to the lottery. If you think that you actually have a chance at winning one of these lotteries, while you may win a scratch-off ticket at your local convenience store that you pick up, you are not winning the mega millions. They are not allowing regular civilians to become billionaires overnight. And their biggest fear, of course, with regular civilians becoming millionaires and billionaires, is that a regular civilian like me could become a billionaire overnight, and then suddenly there could be a potential movement because of money against them and what they're actually doing. So there's no way that they're allowing that to actually happen. But back to the story, because that looked as staged as possible. Somebody just wins $1 million, he comes on stage, he just holds his arms in the air, he's almost like a poor crisis actor. And the theme of all of this, again, is to get people to register in these swing states. That's why I'm covering this, because the narrative of the swing state is that narrative of, wow, was there Russia collusion in a state like Pennsylvania? Was there some type of voter fraud in a state like Georgia? They need the swing state Psyop in there because they only look and focus on the swing states. Now, the reality of the matter is they're the ones who tell you what state's a swing state or not. And if you actually go to a lot of these states like Pennsylvania, you'll find that the majority of people there are not Democrats, that they're actually more conservative people. But it's the media and the government directly that are telling you that these specific states are swing states. So Elon Musk isn't asking for people to vote in these other states that probably are already voting one way or the other. They want it to be in these swing states. And they could build a very big psyop out of this. Because technically, if you think about it, this is bribery, right? Doing a giveaway to get people who are only registered voters, okay? So in other words, they're indirectly doing this. He's not telling you to go and vote for Donald Trump, but he's saying, first of all, you have to be a registered voter. So if somebody out there isn't registered, they might say, oh, I'll go and register. And obviously, if they're going to Elon Musk rallies and they support Elon Musk, they're Trump supporters. They're going to be people who are going to vote conservative because it's almost an involuntary way to say, hey, sign up for this, but make sure you go and vote for that because you're signing a petition with your name on it that supports free speech and the Second Amendment. And of course, the insanity that all of this has become, we literally have people who are Democrats who don't support free speech anymore or the right to bear arms. And they don't even think to themselves, well, what if Donald Trump, they call him a fascist, what if he was put in power? Which is looking more and more likely like that's the way that they're going. Wouldn't they want to be armed against a potential, fascist movement against them? I mean, are they that dumb that they can't think that way? That they can't think to themselves, oh, wait a minute, what if Trump is in power? Maybe we should be armed because maybe he'll bring in martial law. Or maybe, since we're all told that he's this fascist, that he's this modern day Hitler, that we may need to be armed because they may round us up for our gender or for our sexual preference in the bedroom. I mean, that's the way their brains should be working. But their brains aren't working because they're manufacturing these people to think a certain way. So now they've even gotten it with the left and the right, where the left is angry that Elon Musk is getting people to support free speech and the Second Amendment, right? But at the same time, the Democrats look at the conservatives and say, well, the conservatives want to take control over our body, right? So they have the Psyop working both ways with the Roe v. Wade and free speech and the Second Amendment, where the deep state is using the civilians to cancel out the Constitution for them. They're using the civilians to call on an end of free speech because there's hate speech, an end of a right to bear arms because of these events that happen at school. Oh, the conservatives are calling for, telling me what to do with my body, even though all Democrats told conservatives what to do with their body a few years ago. It's utter insanity. All of it is utter insanity. How people don't notice that the government is using all of us, dividing all of us, the oldest motto in the book, so that we do these things to each other, and then all of a sudden no civilians have any rights anymore because everybody's busy removing this constitutional right versus that constitutional right instead of saying, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, we should be looking at the people who are doing this and why each party is affiliated with certain constitutional rights and the other one is affiliated with certain constitutional rights. Aren't both parties supposed to support the Constitution in general? And especially, most importantly, in all the rights that we have, the right to free speech would probably be the most important. The right to say how you feel, to give your opinion, to call out tyranny when you see it. Pretty incredible, right? So I believe that this could be something that gets used in the Psyop because there's going to be a Psyop that comes out of it. Just like 4 years ago, right? We heard about, the votes counted in Georgia, this mysterious activity in Arizona. Oh, Trump only lost by a fraction because they threw out some of the votes there, or they took illegal immigrants were allowed to vote who weren't U.S. citizens. Well, keep an eye on this story. Keep an eye on bribery and then the legality of it and a Trump victory and then saying, well, Trump won slightly because he won in a swing state. But did you know in that swing state that X amount of people registered to vote and voted for Trump with 2 weeks left before the election, all because they wanted to sign up for this $1 million giveaway? It's amazing that people haven't noticed how desperate they are. And I'll cover it in a separate video, but how desperate they are to get you to register to vote, right? I mean, they're bribing people to register to vote. It's a narrative on all these commercials, and I'll do a separate video where I go deep about this, where you could see how important it is for people to consent to all of this, right? Just like you consent when you sign a contract. That's what your vote is. It's consenting to this. It's consenting to your rights being stripped from you. You're legally signing up for this by participating in this psychological operation known as the election. The corporations run America. It is a corporation. People don't seem to understand what that means. That means that the people who are pulling the strings are the corporations, the same ones who you always see talking about all these social issues. They don't talk about selling their products anymore. They talk about all these issues that come down to behavioral modification and behavioral control, right? trying to get you to support this month for Pride or getting you to support that, telling people out there that love wins and we need to remove the right to bear arms. The corporations are the ones running it. These people who pretend to be the Republican nominee and the Democratic nominee are the actors, and they want you to consent to whatever is about to come by voting. And they're begging you to vote. They're not just telling you who to vote for. They're just saying, whoever you want to vote for, just make sure you register and you go and vote. We need 100% participation. Like I said earlier, when was the last time that they were begging people to do something, saying we needed 100% participation? Remember that sentence about achieving herd immunity? That if we achieved herd immunity, and the majority of the population, over 80%, actually went and got a potion, then we could achieve herd immunity and we could all collectively beat this psychosis that the government has put us in. They were begging you, telling you that if we hit these numbers, if you participate, we can defeat it. Guess what? They're doing the same thing now. They're bribing you to register to vote. They're using social engineering by getting all these celebrities to tweet, to put videos out saying, I don't care who you vote for, just register to vote and then go vote. And it's about more than just going on a government list of who you vote for and who you support based on ideologies. It's about consent to this beast system. So I think there could be a big psyop that comes out of this specific story with Elon Musk. This whole theory of a swing state specifically, a registered voter, and Elon Musk giving $1 million out of his pocket to somebody who signs his PAC petition, which is about which is just utter insanity, right? Getting people to sign a petition that want free speech versus don't want free speech, right? Those same people who are against free speech don't even realize that eventually their free speech is going to be removed as well. The government's not going to go along and consent to their free speech in the future when they realize that suddenly they can't leave their home and they can't do this and they can't buy the amount of eggs they want at the store, or they can't buy the amount of video games they want at the store because the government has control over their bank accounts. Then suddenly they're going to speak out against the government and realize there is no free speech anymore because you can't question the government. That's what it's about. But they're using people's feelings to get them to eliminate things like free speech by telling people, well, it's hateful. Oh, it hurts somebody's feelings, right? I always say it. I've said over the last 10 years, right? Remember that we all grew up on the motto, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. You haven't heard that in 10 years or so, 20 years or so. Why is that? Well, because they don't want people to stand up for themselves. They want people to run to Big Brother to protect them. They want government dependency. And thus, nobody's realizing how much government overreach is occurring from both sides. The Republicans only see government overreach from the Democrats, and the Democrats only see government overreach from the Republicans. And the civilians need to get together and say, yeah, all of these people are really infringing on our rights. They're really infringing in our lives, meddling in our lives, telling us where we should go and shouldn't go, how we should social distance from each other, and even take that out of account. Just the stuff they're telling you now about what you should and shouldn't eat. This is government overreach 101. And if the civilians weren't divided by the left-right, they'd be looking at each other going, get these people out of office now. Now, not tomorrow, not in 25 minutes, today, right now. Because they're meddling in our day-to-day lives, telling us how to raise our kids, what we should eat, what we should put in our body, that we should hate our neighbors because they don't vote the same way. It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. So I believe that there will be, or could be, some type of psyop that comes out of this bribery story. Because again, these things are only out there because they want them to be out there. And you'll probably hear whispers of this over the next couple of weeks at least, of the mainstream media talking about, is this legal or is this not legal? Is it, it ties into that whole Donald Trump corruption type of thing, right? Elon Musk is, oh, this is criminal activity. This is bribery. That's like Donald Trump, right? And they could very well use this as a psyop in one of the swing states. But they seem awfully desperate to get you to go register to vote, don't they? I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.